All right, hi everyone. I think we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm sure we will have people joining in the next couple minutes. Um, Once again, thank you for joining us today. This is the Solar Prize Round 3 informational webinar. I'm Jackie Petrie on the NREL Solar Prize team, and to get things started, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Denise Barber.
Oh, thanks, Jackie. Hello, everyone. I'm Denise Barber. I am the network manager. I manage our American-made network here on the NREL prize team. I also have in the room with me Emily Evans, who is our power connector point of contact and also our event coordinator within the NREL prize team. So we're excited to have you all join us today. We're kicking off round 3 of the American-made Solar Prize, and this webinar is meant to be informational and give you all an opportunity to ask questions as we approach our submission deadline, which is coming up in December. So to kick things off, we're going to start things with our overview video of the Solar Prize, which we will launch here in just a minute. All right, everyone, so let's get started with the countdown to ready topics. We're going to go through a little bit of our agenda today. We'll start with an overview of the prize. We'll talk about some important dates and events, what exactly you're going to need to do to submit to the Ready contest, and how to make your submission shine out from aside of all the others. We'll talk about judging criteria and ranking requirements. And then we'll launch into our network and how you can utilize the network to help your innovations and to actually log in and help with our power connectors as well. And then we'll end the webinar with a question and answer session. And Jackie from our NREL communications team will be guiding you along with how we can answer some questions. And they can submit them at any time, right?
Yeah, so if you have any questions throughout this webinar, feel free to submit them in the question box, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation.
So for an overview of the Solar Prize, we'll talk a little bit about the mission to start off. The Solar Prize is meant to energize American ingenuity in solar innovation and manufacturing. We really want to empower innovators with knowledge, resources, and access to rapidly transform their ideas into prototypes. We help to set entrepreneurs on a network-powered pathway of distributive innovation so that ideas can become real products in months and not years. The Solar Prize is a $3 million prize competition that's funded by the Department of Energy, and then NREL works as the prize administrator. The prize competition is set up of 3 phases. There's a ready contest, a set contest, and a go contest. These contests work with our American-made network. It's a network of support organizations to help those competitors through the entire prize. So a little bit about a prize versus a grant. The financial process for a grant that takes a little bit longer than a typical prize process. So a grant, you're going to write and submit in concept papers. You're going to have a concept paper review. Applicants are going to submit their full application. Then they're going to have another review of those applications. Then they select and do some negotiations, all before the actual performing begins. And then they prepare and submit a reimbursement request, and then the request is reviewed and reimbursement is issued. Where in a prize contest like the American-made Solar Prize, the performing begins now. The performing is going to begin in this contest, in this ready phase right now. You'll achieve some predefined goals. You'll complete a submission package. The judges will score that submission package, and then the winners receive payment. So it's quite a bit quicker of a process than a typical grant. So as you can see here, the prize is a cash prize. These are our round 1 set demo day winners, and they all received $100,000 checks, big checks, as you can see, with big smiles on their faces. So it is definitely a prize-oriented cash process. The contest consists of 3 phases. Each phase is 90 days long, and each phase has $1 million up for grabs. The first contest is the Ready contest. It's where you are making a plan to innovate. And at the end of this contest, there'll be up to 20 winners that receive $50,000 apiece. And then they move on to the Set contest. In the Set contest, you're creating a proof of concept. There will be up to 10 winners of $100,000 each, with also $75,000 in vouchers that can be used within our network and at our 17 national laboratories. We'll talk a little bit more about the network later on in the presentation. And then the final stage, the final contest, is our Go contest. And this is where you're building a prototype and you're finding a pilot partner. There will be up to two winners at the end of this contest, each receiving $500,000 and another $75,000 in vouchers to be used within our network or at the national lab. So who can compete? Any US-based individual, so any scientist or researcher, any student or faculty member, entrepreneurs, anyone with a big idea in solar, anybody with a big desire to transform their ideas into impactful new solutions. So a few important dates to start off with. Right now, as I mentioned, we are kicking off the Ready contest. Performing and competing is going to start right now. So we want you to sign up to be part of the challenge. We'll talk a little bit more about how you can do this later on in the presentation, but we want you to learn about the contest, learn about the connectors, and see what types of services the network offers. So by December 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern, that's going to be our last and final day. That's our deadline for you to complete and submit your application for the Ready contest. And at this point, on that date, you will qualify for participating in the Set and Go contest if you get your application in by that 2 p.m. deadline. So what do you need to know about the Ready contest? The goal of the Ready contest is to transform an important problem from a conceptual solution to a plan for building a proof of concept. The rules for our American-Made Solar Prize are located here at our website. We encourage you to read them thoroughly. They're going to define what the who, when, where, why, and how of the Solar Prize. You're going to want to get to know these guidelines and these rules specifically. And if you do have any questions along the way, we're always here to help. But you're going to want to refer back to this document and get to know it pretty well. So how to get ready for the Ready contest. You want to develop a credible solution to a concept of a real-world problem. You want to perform the due diligence to validate that the processed solution hits technical potentials and market feasibility. You want to build an exceptional and committed team. And then you also want to use our network. You want to cultivate relationships with innovation networks and to help maximize the likelihood of your success. So what to submit by December 10th? There's a few things that we require, and it's not going to be a lengthy submission process, but we do require that you submit a 90-second video. This video does not have to be a professional video. It can be used, you can use your cell phone, nothing, too high-end at this point. And we actually highly recommend that you go to our website. We'll give that information here a little bit later, and check out what the round 1 and round 2 video submissions look like. You can actually view them online and see what kinds of videos they came up with and how they had to do it in a fairly quick time. So highly recommend that you go check out those videos. You're going to also submit a cover page, which is just like a summary page. There will be a narrative portion where you have 4 questions to answer. You're going to answer what is the problem, what's your solution, what's your team look like, and what's your plan, all in 2,500 words or less. There's also a technical assistance request portion, and this is what actually helps us with our vouchers. If you should go on to win the Set contest, that $75,000 that you'll receive in voucher money, we're going to want to know how and where you need technical assistance so that we can help match you up with the national laboratories or the different organizations within the network. So that piece, the technical assistance request, is to help us with the voucher process that would come up in the Set contest. You'll also provide a summary PowerPoint slide, which is also, again, public. So on this slide where it says public, that means that anybody, it's going to be posted on our website and anybody can go and view these items. And then finally, suggested is a letter of commitment or support. This is optional at this point, but if you do have organizations that are helping you and mentoring you, and they could give you a letter of commitment, that's only going to help your application. Farther down in the contest, it does become required in the set and go contest, but at this point it is optional, just kind of a nice to have. So what does your video look like? How can you show your innovation in 90 seconds? Some suggested content, again, we keep mentioning it needs to be a real world problem that you are solving. We want to see your solution and why it's transformational, and then who you are and why you have a competitive edge. A few tips from our point of view is to be creative and focus on the content. And ask others for help. Don't be afraid. You don't have to do it all on your own. Ask people to help you, and also ask for feedback. Get some feedback before you post your video online. And what the judges are going to be looking for in these videos is that again, it's a compelling real-world problem, that the video describes a unique innovation that is feasible in a few years, and that the video shows a knowledgeable and skillful team. So the 4 questions that you might be asking, what are you going to be asked in the application? They are, what is the problem and why is it solving it important? Number 2, what is your solution and why will it be successful? Number 3, what have you done to date and what qualities give you a competitive edge? And then finally, 4, what is your plan to achieve your goals? So in talking about what the judges are going to be looking at when they're reviewing these applications, we'll give an example here with that first question, which is what is the problem and why are you solving it? The judges are going to score each question on a 1 to 6 scale. So you can see at the bottom of this slide, 1 represents strongly disagree and 6 represents strongly agree. So for this question, you're going to want to describe the problem, quantify its significance with metrics, and explain how now is the right time to solve it. The judges are going to be looking that you do indeed quantify a critical problem using important metrics and a compelling analysis of why now is the right time to address it. So you're also going to want to explain why existing solutions are inadequate. The judges are going to want to see that current solutions and their limitations show a comprehensive understanding of the problem solution space. And then finally, you're going to want to show that you know that this is a significant problem using evidence-based validation. So you're going to want to give specific examples. You're going to want to give maybe interviews with viewers or case studies and literature to back it up. The judges are going to want to see that this competitor uses real-world evidence to validate key assumptions about the industry need. So that's just an example of how some of the judges' criteria is going to break down each question. The technical assistance request. This is the voucher information process. You're going to want to submit a technical assistance request as part of your application package, and it's going to help us identify the use of those voucher funds at the national laboratories or qualified facilities within our network. The vouchers provide access to hardware and software development tools, access to, like we said, national laboratories, universities, private labs, all various organizations within our network. Expert network and platforms for coders, designers, and other specific network applications. It also provides specialized facilities with additive, digital, small batch, and other manufacturing support, as well as other testing and validation capabilities. So for using these vouchers, the vouchers can be used 2/3 of them at one national laboratory, and then 1/3 of them can either be used at another national laboratory or a qualified private facility within our network. So maybe you're looking for, fabrication or prototyping needs. You can use one of our network facilities for that as well. So it's just a little bit of a breakdown between the national labs and the private facilities. So your submission form is going to look like this, and we use what's called a HeroX platform to take in all of our submissions. So off to the left is your submission form on HeroX, And then off to the right is what the template looks like. It's going to include your project name, your team name, and it's going to ask that you identify partners or organizations that are helping you or mentoring you along. If these organizations are not part of our American-made network, we highly suggest that you help them join. It's a simple application process that can be done through our website. There's a few questions, just a short application. There's a small vetting process that's done on the NREL side, and then we post them up to the network. The key thing here is that any of these organizations that are helping you, if they become connectors within our network, they are eligible for recognition rewards. This means they can get cash prizes as well for helping you along in any of the contests. And we'll describe a little bit more of that later on in the presentation. So ranking the competitor submissions. We also, as part of these contests, do what we call peer ranking portion. So each competitor is asked to rank their peers within the process as well. So the competitor community represents a wealth of knowledge and expertise, and we understand this. So we would like our competitors to rank the public items of peer submissions and actually help inform the judging in their process. Each competitor will receive 2 sets of 5 submissions, and they'll be asked to rank them. These are all implemented on the HeroX platform. Guidance will be given to you from us, NREL, via another webinar training on how to do this. All competitors must do this ranking within a few days of being assigned. And the process doesn't really take that long. It's maybe an hour total. And competitors who do not complete this peer ranking process may be disqualified. It's something that it's in our rules and we require it. So the assessment and announcement. Judges will score the submissions based on the judging criteria that we've talked about. And just on a side note, all judges sign a non-disclosure agreement. So ideas and innovations are kept very close to the chest. A final score form for an individual judge from a submission package equals the total of the scores for all the bullets. So this one was always confusing me, but basically all of the judging criteria, all of the bullets will be subtotaled into one final score from each individual judge. All judges' scores will then be averaged into a final score for the submission package. Approximately 60 days after the contest closes, the prize administrator, which is us, NREL, we will notify and announce winners. And then those ready winners will move on to compete in the set contest. This is what our HeroX platform looks like. We encourage you to go join the community. You can go get in on the Round 3 Solar Prize community, and as you can see, we post updates. We have a forum where people can submit questions or comments. There's a community page where the community can talk amongst each other. And then we also have other important information and dates. As you can see, there's the clock that counts down to the time left to enter, which is awesome, gives you a reminder of how many days and maybe hours you have left until you have to submit. So this is our HeroX platform. Will look very familiar when you log on to apply. So after Ready, what comes after Ready? After Ready, you'll be competing, if you win the Ready contest, you'll be competing in the set and then hopefully the Go contest as well. We want you to try to apply now, win Ready, and then you're going to submit a package and pitch at a set demo day. That will be the set contest, which then you will receive cash prizes and vouchers then. And then if you do choose to go on, you can compete in the Go contest at the Go demo day and again receive cash prizes and vouchers. So getting support for your Ready application. This is where we want to talk a bit about our network and how we can help you. The American-Made Network is comprised of 132 network partners from around 32 states across the country. All 17 national laboratories are included in this network. And as you can see here in the blue bullets, we have 5 power connectors, which actually are contracted with NREL to help us. Specifically, the network in its entirety helps all competitors, but the 5 power connectors hold contracts with us. And my colleague here, Emily, is going to go into a little bit more detail about the power connectors. If we want to switch one more slide, or I might be ahead of myself. I am. Hang on, Emily. First, let's talk about the connectors and how they get rewarded. So I mentioned earlier that if there is a organization and they are a connector within our American-made network, they are eligible for recognition rewards. We host what we call engage events, where these connectors, they're distributed to the connector who engages with potential participants through targeted outreach and events leading up to the Ready contest submission deadline. So they're asked to hold an event, which is going to be an informational event, have to hit certain amount of guidelines in order to win, but they are eligible for then a $1,000 payment to be distributed to that connector who sponsors the event that meets our specific conditions. Then we also have recognition rewards for connectors who support our teams. Up to 40 of these awards are distributed during the Ready portion. So if there is a organization who you have either are already a part of the American-made network or you help them to sign up and become a connector, they are then eligible if they help you in winning the Ready contest. And then finally, we also have mentor rewards that are distributed to the connectors that mentor the winning competitors and facilitate partnership agreements in the set contest and the go contest. So the support engagement awards come in the first stage in the Ready contest, and then the mentor awards come later in the set and go contest. But again, the key here is that these network members need to be a part of our network, and they need to be mentioned in your application. So when you fill out your application for the Ready contest, you're going to want to mention those companies that have been helping you and assisting you. And if they are part of our network, they're eligible for these rewards. Okay, so back to our power connector information. I'm going to hand things over to Emily to talk a little bit about our power connectors and how they work with the network.
Thank you, Denise. As Denise mentioned, power connectors are an essential part of the American-made network. Our power connectors are geographically diverse, and they provide free services to teams, which is really exciting. Our power connectors can help you as round 3 competitors in a variety of ways. Any of the bullets listed here is something that a power connector could help you with today. I would like to really highlight the HeroX submission support. If you have a round 3 application that you'd like another set of eyes on, we can connect you with a power connector to provide that review. They can help to provide introductions to customers and strategic partners, provide pitch practice and business model feedback. They can help with sales and business development, prototyping and production, as well as any of the other services that are listed here. As Denise mentioned, we have 5 power connectors. There's Elemental Accelerator, who has offices in Honolulu and Palo Alto, California. Greentown Labs, which is based near Boston, Massachusetts. Powerhouse, who is in Oakland, California. Nation of Makers in Silver Spring, Maryland. And the Wilson E. Scott Institute for Energy Innovation at Carnegie Mellon University. And they're based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you are geographically close to any one of these power connectors, you're welcome to go and set up a meeting with them in person. If you are not near any power connectors, we can set up virtual office hours. And I would also encourage you to sign up for our upcoming December 4th webinar, which will focus more heavily on power connectors and having some digital open office hours right then and there to help you with your application. If you are interested in working with a power connector, please reach out to us via the email that's provided at the end of this presentation, and we'll help make those connections for you. Thanks, Denise.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. All right, so we are encouraging you to get started now. We would love for you to visit our website, learn more, and apply. As you can see right here on this slide, there's Join the Challenge. That's where you're going to submit your application. You'll be routed to our HeroX platform, and will be asked to complete all of those submission items that we talked about earlier in the presentation.
All
Right. I think with that, Denise, did you have any other wrap-ups from the presentation before we get into the Q&A session?
We just want to, again, highly encourage you to go and apply for the READY contest. READY begins now. You are competing and performing now. It's, again, a 90-day contest that will move pretty quickly, and we're here to help you. And again, we've got the questions slide up here. If you do have questions, you can submit them to solar.prize@nrel.gov. We have a team that monitors that inbox, and we'll be sure to get back to you and point you in the right direction. But yeah, we can definitely open it up for questions and see where we're at.
Great. Like we said before, if you have any questions, please feel free to submit them to the question box within GoToWebinar. And we will do our best to get through all of them, but if we don't have time to answer your question, or if you have something that's more specific to your submission, you can always email solar.prize@nrel.gov. All right, so let's dive in. The first question we've gotten is whether this webinar will be available online after, and the answer is yes. We will post a recording of this webinar with both the audio and presentation. So if you know of anybody who wasn't able to attend, or if you just want to review that information, it will be available for you. All right, so the next question is the Solar Prize Round 3 geared towards solar only, or can other projects, maybe something that involves like lithium ion energy storage, be submitted as well?
So the answer to that question is the Solar Prize is geared towards anything solar. We definitely want that solar connection. However, we do have several other challenges on our website, the American Made Challenges website. There is several water prizes. There's actually a battery prize, a lithium-ion battery prize currently running. There are wind prizes. There's upcoming geothermal prizes. So I highly encourage you to check out our website if you have ideas for other renewable energy innovations. But for this specific round, this round of the Solar Prize, we do ask that these ideas be focused on solar.
Great. Another question is, does the company submitting have to be U.S. majority owned?
To answer that question, a team member who submits the application for this prize needs to be a U.S. citizen. You need to be able to submit a W-9. The rest of the team can be made up of any foreign national or foreign members. However, just the one submitting team member needs to be a U.S. citizen.
Another question regarding who can submit. Can a person submit if one of their family members works for a national lab, or does that familial tie disqualify them from applying to round 3?
So they absolutely can submit. Yes, we encourage that. It sounds like you might have some ideas in the blood, ideas in the family, some good renewable energy things going on. So yes, please. Even if you have members that work for the government or a solar facility or a renewable energy facility, please bring those ideas on.
Great. A question regarding the questions that are going to be asked in the submission. For the 4 questions that need to be answered, there's the 2,500 word limit. Does the bibliography or sources, any sources that are cited, does that count towards the 25 word limit, or is that considered separate?
That would definitely be considered separate. We're going to go ahead and give you the 2,500 word limit for your submission, for your verbiage, and any references can be additional.
In the technical assistance request, should submitters mention the exact connectors they'd like to connect with, or should they mention just the services that they're looking for?
Yeah, so the technical assistance request is really geared at looking at your needs and your services that you're looking for from those national laboratories or from those connectors within the network. If there are connectors that you want to connect with, we highly recommend that you reach out to them on your own. That's what they're there for. That's what all the information is there on the website. We give you areas where you can directly email them and reach out to them. And then again, if you have organizations or groups that you're working with that are not a part of the American Made Network, we encourage you to ask them to sign up for the network so that if you do mention them in your application, they can receive recognition rewards.
Okay, and I just wanted to clarify super quickly. We had a question regarding storage proposals, and we just wanted to make sure that we're clear. Storage proposals will be considered. If you take a look at the round 2 semifinalists, you can see some examples of storage proposals that were selected. So don't be discouraged if your innovation incorporates storage. That is definitely allowed. All right, another question that we received, should the 90-second video, should it be edited for specific critiques from previous rounds, or, what are some tips around submitting the video?
Want to take that one, Jackie?
Sure. I mean, I would say, as you can see, if you take a look at the round 1 and round 2 winning videos, you can view those on the HeroX pages for round 1 and round 2. You can go to the winning teams and check out their submission videos. You'll see that there's really a wide range of how people chose to approach those videos. Some people just set up a webcam and recorded themselves talking and explaining their innovation for 90 seconds. Other people did like a very well done, nicely edited video that maybe was, they got some help, some professional help. Other people did some PowerPoint slides with narration over it. There's no set requirement on how to approach the video. So we would say don't get hung up on making your video submission super high quality. We more so want to hear about your innovation and addressing the questions that are being asked. So hopefully that answers the question related to video. Let's see. Another question we received is, can the model be a business model prototype or a system operator solving issue like in an integrated grid, or making a sub-company out of it?
I would say that the scope of the solar prize is very broad. As long as your idea is focused on solving some real world problem within the solar industry, I would caution on the side of applying, especially in the ready stage. It's a relatively low lift, you'll get feedback, and you never know, you might be successful. I would say go ahead and submit it.
Great. In regard to the connectors, we had someone ask, will we offer to help find the right connectors at this stage?
We are absolutely here to support you and help make those connections. You definitely do not have to go through us to engage with the network. If you reach out, we will help you make those connections as best we can and give you ideas of where to start, maybe set you up with a power connector. But yeah, so you can either reach out through us or you can go into our network page and start reaching out directly.
And I also want to remind you all, we're having another webinar on December 4th, and we're going to be joined on that webinar by our power connectors. And part of the goal of that webinar is to connect you guys with power connectors, and they are absolutely there to help you make those connections with other people in the network. So if you're maybe having trouble figuring out who you should connect with, but you do want help at this early stage, we definitely advise you join that December 4th webinar. Okay, another question is about who can compete, and we have a question asking if a company can compete.
Yes, a company can compete. It's just that you are going to want to form a team, right? You're going to want to have a team lead. You're going to want whoever is submitting the application, it's going to need to come from an individual, but that organization can definitely, we actually encourage that. Please encourage your employees and your team members to enter and to form a team and to form an idea and get their application in. So most definitely, it's just that your company name, and which could be also be your team name, is just going to be needed to be represented by one individual, at least a team lead. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. We have a question regarding the types of innovations that can be submitted. Do these innovations have to be something that is specifically oriented towards helping people in the continental U.S., or can these be, is Round 3 open to ideas that could maybe help with like natural disaster relief or other applications worldwide?
Absolutely, these ideas can be set to help worldwide issues, worldwide problems. We are trying to gear towards, it is the American-made challenges. It is American-made based. So we like these ideas to come from the U.S., but we're definitely solving world problems. We all are. And so these ideas we definitely want those ideas to set at getting all kinds of challenges around the world. That's why there is a water prize. That's why there's a wind prize. That's why there's geothermal prizes. So most definitely, hopefully, you guys have some ideas that are going to hit not just only U.S.-based problems or issues, but also worldwide.
Great. Speaking of some of those other prizes like water, wind, would we consider ideas on harvesting solar power on the ocean, or would you recommend how would you recommend someone determine if they are better suited for a solar prize or a water prize?
I'd say go for both.
What do you have to lose, right?
If you have an idea that's eligible for multiple prizes, there's nothing in the rules that I've seen that says that you can't apply to both and tailor it. If you're applying to the solar prize, I would encourage you to really focus on those solar aspects of your idea. But again, as long as your idea is solar focused, we want to hear it. We want to see what you got.
Bring it on.
Please do submit.
Is there a preference for a completed prototype for the Ready contest?
Not at this stage. So the Ready contest is getting your idea and innovation started. We're going to definitely want to see that advancement as the contests go on and as you get into your prototype development. But at this stage, we get asked this question a lot. Does it have to be a thoroughly, prototyped idea? And no. We just want to know what your problem is, why you think it needs to be solved right now, how it's going to definitely put us ahead in the world, and then your plan. So your plan for taking it to prototype.
I would also flip that around and say if you have a prototype, you should also be applying to the Ready competition. It might feel a little awkward to be answering those questions if you already have a prototype, but just do your best, submit. It definitely does not hurt you. There's no preference for a prototype in the Ready stage, but definitely does not count against you.
That's awesome. Thank you for the clarification. Definitely concur with what Emily just said.
As we're reaching our last couple minutes, I just want to say if anybody else has any other questions, feel free to send them in, and we will, again, get to as many as possible in the last couple minutes. We did have a question from somebody who said they just learned about the Solar Prize Round 3 today, and they're very interested in participating. but they're a little bit worried that they don't have the time to put together a great submission. So what do we recommend about submitting to round 3? Or if they submit to round 3, does that make them ineligible for future rounds of the Solar Prize or future other American-made challenges?
I think this is a really good question. Submitting to previous rounds absolutely does not make you ineligible for future rounds. You can apply every single round. And if you're just learning about the prize today, I would say get your idea together, write up a submission, and submit it.
You
do have some time. I know it's short. We can provide support to you. We can arrange some office hours with a power connector, really help you get your application together. And the worst thing that happens is you submit to round 3, you get feedback, and maybe you're not successful, you get feedback back, and then you've got a leg up for round 4. And most of your submission is already done, so then it will be a relatively low lift for anticipated future rounds.
Agreed.
Yeah, we definitely encourage you to submit to round 3, and like Emily said, that does not disqualify you from other future rounds or other American-made challenges. Speaking of which, can more than one submission be submitted to the Solar Prize round 3?
Yes, you can submit up to 3.
Great. We had a question on what's the difference between a model and a prototype? And is there, do we have specific requirements for what a prototype is?
You know, that's a little bit of a technical question for us that I'm not sure anyone in this room is able to answer, but we can definitely, I don't know if, is anyone from DOE on the line that could answer this technical question? Jackie's looking.
Encourage the person who's asking that question to review the rules, and it's pretty clearly laid out. But again, if you do have further questions or need clarifications, our email's up on the screen. Please send us this email, or please send us the questions, and we will get you an answer as quickly as possible.
We'll definitely find an answer for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I think that looks like that's about it for our questions today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and asking all these wonderful questions. We're so happy that you are interested in round 3. Again, we just want to say if you have any other questions, please reach out to us. Our email is on the screen, solar.prize@nrel.gov, and we would be more than happy to point you in the right direction or put you in touch with a power connector or answer your question ourselves. Thank you also to Emily Evans and Denise Barber for facilitating our presentation today and answering these questions. We will have this webinar recorded and posted, like I mentioned, and also I just want to encourage everyone one last time to join us for our December 4th webinar. We will make sure that you all have a link to that if you want to join. It'll be a little bit different because, like I said, we'll be joined by our power connectors, and they're going to have some live office hours. So if you need any specific help, we'll get you matched up on the spot with them. And we'll also be answering more specific questions related to submissions. So if you have any last-minute questions about your submission or need help with that process, we will be talking about that and answering those questions. Denise and Emily, any last words that you want to say before we wrap up today's webinar?
I think just one last plug for American-Made Challenges at nrel.gov. Go check it out, and please apply for round 3, American-Made Solar Prize. Any idea, big, little, small, we want to hear them, and you know, go for it and tell your friends about it and talk to people. Emily's got she's a little bit of something she wants to add as well, but we just really encourage your involvement, and any questions come our way. Check out our website. We're here for you. We're here to help.
And just to add, go online, read the rules, look through the scoring criteria. The rules are very well laid out. They're very clear. They can really help to guide your submissions. So absolutely take a look at those before you submit and apply, get your applications in early.
December 10th,
December 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern.
the deadline.
Yes, definitely make sure you get it in by 2 p.m. And are aware of that cutoff time. All right, that wraps up today's Round 3 informational webinar. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing your submissions.